Before tonight's meeting begins, I have a few announcements to make on behalf of the President and Board of Trustees pertaining to the conduct of this meeting by video conference. If anyone's having trouble hearing the meeting, please send a message to the Zoom administrator or email pmcgrath@mcgrathpc.com. We will work to resolve those issues before we proceed. Please, we ask members of the public to please mute your microphone when you're not speaking to help reduce background noise. We will have a public comment period. The public comment period is not intended as a question and answer session. If you have questions, you're encouraged to contact village staff and officials directly outside of the meeting. Contact information for all village staff and officials is available on the village's website. The comment period tonight is intended to afford you the opportunity to make a statement to the board. It's not intended as a period of discussion back and forth between the commenter and the board. To aid in managing the public comment period, Mayor Kaufman has asked me on his behalf to recognize individual members of the public during the comment period, as we have in prior meetings. At the conclusion of the public comment period, our meeting administrator will mute all participants other than village officials, since public participation during meetings is specifically limited to only the public comment period. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. We'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Blunier.
Here.
Leach.
Here.
Lehman.
Here.
Menold.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
Parrott.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Tonight we do have a public hearing proposed amendment to the pre-annexation agreement with Peoria Sand and Gravel, and I'd like the legal counsel to give a report on that.
Thank you, Your Honor. The matter on the agenda tonight is a public comment only. This matter is not on the agenda for the trustees to vote, merely public comment only via the public hearing. We would anticipate the matter would be on the agenda for final action by the trustees on June 15th. The amendment to the pre-annexation agreement between the Village of Morton and Peoria Sand and Gravel, which is up for tonight for public comment through this hearing process, would provide certain modifications to the existing agreement between the village and Peoria Sand and Gravel. The summary I'm to provide is not intended to be a verbatim reading of the pre-annexation agreement amendment, but rather a summary of the substantive high points. Those amendments would include a modification of the number of permitted driveways for the Main Street Business Park subdivision to 5 driveways being permitted off of Main Street and 5 driveways off of Harding Road, with certain limitations on the proximity of those driveways to intersections. The agreement calls for Lot 1 to be rezoned from I-2 to B3. Provides that if the owner of the subdivision desires to rezone lots 3 or 4, the village would be willing to rezone those to B3 without additional consideration or conditions. Provides that lots 5, 6, 7, or 8, which front Harding Road, could be rezoned on petition of the owner to R4 multifamily residential or B3 highway and service commercial district without the imposition of any conditions on behalf of the village. Further, the agreement provides that in the event the 17-acre site, which fronts Harding Road, owned by the Morton School District, is developed, the reimbursement due to Peoria Sand and Gravel would be reduced on account of the sanitary sewer installed by Peoria Sand and Gravel from the amount currently set forth in the agreement. That it'd be reduced from that amount to $37,500. Further, in the event the low-lying 5 acres on the southwestern part of that 17 acres were to be connected to the village's sewer, the reimbursement for that 5 acres would be an additional $15,000. Further, the village, under the terms of this agreement, would provide credit to Peoria Sand and Gravel of $11,750 towards fees due and owing the village incurred in the intended development of Lot 1 as a daycare center. The terms of this third amendment would last for so long as the terms of the existing Second Amendment to the pre-annexation agreement, which runs through February 2nd, 2029. So having provided the public a summary of the contents and substantive agreements set forth in that Third Amendment, now would be the opportunity if any members of the public who are present desire to provide testimony during this public hearing period. So if you have any comment or testimony you want to offer to the board, limited only to the proposed Third Amendment to the pre-annexation agreement between Peoria Sand and Gravel in the village, now is your time to do so. This is not the regular public comment period. The regular public comment period will follow shortly, where you can talk about any issue you desire to address the board on. I would ask if any member of the public who's participating today desires to be heard and provide testimony or comment on this proposed Third Amendment to the pre-annexation agreement, please either raise your hand through the Zoom meeting or please unmute your microphone or otherwise provide an indication that you desire to be heard. I'll wait a minute or two before we proceed to see if anybody wants to offer testimony on this issue. I see no hands being raised digitally, and having seen no indication that anyone present desires to be heard, I would suggest, Mr. Mayor, that this would conclude the public hearing and Your Honor could proceed forward with the agenda.
Okay. So the public hearing is over. There is no presentations or special reports tonight, and this would be time for public comment, if anyone would like to speak.
This would be the time for general public comment, so you could either raise your hand through the Zoom meeting or unmute your microphone. I don't see any hands raised. I think, Teresa, I see your microphone is unmuted. Did you desire to be heard during the public comment period, or was it just happenstance that you were unmuted? Hearing nothing and seeing none seemingly indicating an intent to speak, I would suggest Your Honor could proceed.
Okay, tonight's consent agenda is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting, May 18th, 2020, and the approval of the bills. If I could have a motion.
So moved, Newman.
Second, Parrott.
Any questions or comments? Call the roll.
Blunier,
Yes.
Leach,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Menold,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Parrott,
Yes.
The motion
Yes.
passes.
All right. I have nothing tonight. Village clerk,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
village administrator,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
chief of police.
I have nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you. Corporation counsel.
I have one item tonight, Your Honor, which is ordinance number 21-04, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of 208 East Tyler Street.
Could we have a motion?
So move, Steve.
Second, Parrott.
The proposed contract for 208 East Tyler Street would call for that property to be purchased at a purchase price of $120,000 under ordinary terms and conditions for a sale of this nature. This proposed acquisition is in connection with other planned public infrastructure improvements in and around the area of the junior high school.
Trustees have any comments or concerns? If not, call the roll.
Leach,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Menold,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Is that all you have, counsel?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Yes, that's all I have this evening.
Okay. Director of Fire and Emergency Services?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you. Director of Public Works?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
And Zoning and Code Enforcement Officer? I couldn't hear you. Could the rest?
I have 3 items tonight, Your Honor.
Okay.
The first item is an ordinance making amendments regarding driveways to Title 10 of the Morton Municipal Code.
If we could have a motion?
I'll move to approve, Newman.
Second, Mennel.
Would you like to explain that a little bit, Brad?
Yes, Your Honor. This ordinance, I've had some residents approach me for permits to replace circular driveways. The circular driveways were existing non-conforming. With our ordinance as it is today, it would not allow them to replace those driveways. This ordinance would allow replacement of existing non-conforming driveways, but they would have to conform to today's standards.
Okay, any questions from the trustees?
I have a question, Brad, just to make sure I understand. If they currently have a circular driveway and they replace it, they can replace it with the same circular driveway, correct?
Actually, it would have to conform to today's standards, which would be an overall width of 36 feet and on one entrance be no more than 24 feet. So for example, you could have a 24 and a 12. So if what they have currently exceeds that, they could not do that, but they would have to meet today's standards. Where the problem lies is the 150 feet frontage that we require for a circular drive. So most of these do not have that 150 feet. So that's where it allows for them to replace it.
Okay. But with the 36 feet total, you could have an 18 and an 18. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? Call the roll.
Lehman,
Yes.
Menold,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
Blunier,
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
A second item tonight, Your Honor, is an ordinance making amendments regarding solar energy systems to Title 10 of the Morton Municipal Code.
Do we have a motion?
So move, Steve.
Second, Newman.
Would you like to explain that a little, Brad?
Yes, this ordinance would allow for roof-mounted solar energy systems to be put on accessory structures such as a detached garage. I do believe that this original ordinance was probably created conservatively as solar energy systems were new. Now that we seem to be getting a lot of this, it seems to be more acceptable. And by allowing them on the accessory structures, I think it gives people the opportunity for a more green energy.
All right, any other questions?
Question, Newman. Would this allow units to be installed on both the principal and secondary structures of the same property?
Yes.
Okay.
Currently it's the principal structure only. But so sometimes with the roof line, the shape of the roof, depending on which way it faces, it may not be feasible or as efficient to put it on the principal structure as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Call the roll.
Menold,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
Blunier,
Yes.
Leach,
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
My third item tonight, Your Honor, is a zoning amendment and special use petition 20-01 ZASP.
Do we have a motion?
Move to approve, Newman.
Second, Parrot.
You want to explain that a little bit, Brad?
Yes, this location is 1610 North Main Street. It's owned by Peoria Sand and Gravel, which was the petitioner. They're requesting to go from I-2 to B3 with the special use to be a daycare center. The proposal is to build a 10,000 square foot daycare center on this site to share the existing drive with Gold's Gym.
Any comments from the trustees? Call the roll.
Newman,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
Blunier,
Yes.
Leach,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Menold.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you.
That's all I have tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you. Village trustees, does anyone have anything tonight? All right, we have no needs for a closed session, so if I could have a motion for adjournment.
I so move, Menold. Second, Leach.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.